I really like this question because it combines a couple of aspects. And so the one aspect is when I just get a random x value where a tangent is happening, or even just in any graph, if you've got half a point, so you've got a point but you don't know the other letter, immediately before you do anything, just sub it into the equation. Now, I could sub it into this cubic equation, but it would kind of leave me with p's and q's and numbers and be a bit of a headache. And so because it's the point on the tangent, it's also the point on this graph. So if I just put 1 in here, immediately it's going to spit out the y value, which is -3. So always helpful just to get a point so that you don't stress about that later. Then what we're going to do is realize, and our brains will just buzz like crazy when we see the word tangent, because we know we can go back to that original safe formula that's the backbone of calculus, where the derivative gives me the gradient of the tangent. If you're ever in doubt in an exam, just write out that formula. The derivative, which I can do, so it will be 6x squared plus 2px plus q, is the gradient of the tangent, which I know is 5. At this point, once I've done the derivative, it just looks a bit clumsy and ugly. And so don't forget also that at any point you can sub in the x value where the point of contact is happening. So if I do that, it's just going to look that little bit nicer. And so that will leave me with 6. I'm going to take 6 across, so it will be -1. And just to save time, I'm going to take the 2p across. So I've got q, and then I'll have -2p. So I've got a point on the graph, and I've got, so far, by using the derivative equals a gradient of the tangent, I've kind of hit a bit of a dead end here. If I've got a point, if I'm missing variables, if I'm missing letters in a graph, I can always just sub that point into the graph to get myself a bit further. And so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to sub in this point. And so when I sub it in, there's my x values. Okay, so don't forget the power of just being able to sub in points into original graphs. This will just leave me with a p. This will just leave me with a q. Numbers wise, I'm sitting on 2 minus 7, which is -5. And so if I plus that across, it will be +5 minus 3, which is just 2. Then because I've got myself q by itself, I can sub it in here. So I'll have 2 equals p plus, and here's what q is. And so I can try to take that to finality. So p minus 2p is minus p. If I bring the 1 across, it's 3. And if I just swap them around, p is -3. Where's the best place to sub in this? There's lots of places you can sub it in. I prefer to sub it into the equation that's rearranged to have the other letter by itself, because when you sub it in, you'll immediately get the answer. But there's no hard, fast rule about that. So I sub that in for p. This becomes +6 minus 1, which is just 5. And there I've got my answer. So many different tips and tricks, all in this one incredible question. If you found that helpful, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with your friends.